Hi, I'm Sean Merritt, National Commander, United States Volunteer Rangers. We're going to start out with a number of videos of this type for the next while, myself and other members of this organization, to get you familiar with the customs, courtesies, and equipment necessary and required and desirable for doing things within the United States Volunteer Rangers, either as a scout or as part of the disaster relief efforts that we conduct. For all of those things, whether you're a scout or whether you are deploying to a hurricane zone or whatever, the foundation for our equipment is what we call the Scout Chest Rig. Scout Chest Rig is, the foundation of the Scout Chest Rig is what is the Condor MOLLE Chest panel. It's the only one of its kind, believe me, we keep looking. And nobody else makes just a panel. They always had to put goo gauze, and they had to put all kinds of extra junk onto it. Condor, in their infinite wisdom, doesn't do that. They left it completely bare, just the MOLLE. So you can put what you want on there. And it's compact enough that it's not going to be so in the way that you can't work in it. The advantage of a chest rig, a chest panel of this kind, is the fact that it allows you to carry the things you need in an area that's easy to get at, while still being able to wear a standard traditional backpack, that being one with sternum strap and kidney belt. So, let's get started. The chest rig, I'm not going to put it on. I tried it in an early iteration of this. Sits about here on your chest. Keep stuff right where you can get to it. Now let's take a look what's inside. This is my personal chest rig, just so you understand. Each one's going to be slightly different depending on what pouches you put on. And the beautiful thing about MOLLE is if I decide I need to have a different pouch, depending on the mission or what I'm going to be doing, I can do that. And it's just as easy as taking one thing apart and taking one thing off, putting another thing on. Let's start on one side, on our left, my left, and work our way to my right. Condor makes a really decent universal radio pouch, and this little radio pouch can fit everything from Baofeng UV5Rs, UV82s. This is the UV82, but it doesn't have to be. All the way over to some of the larger FRS radios and some of the fire service and Forest Service radios and stuff like that. And some of those things are bricks, let me tell you. They're a huge, obnoxiously bulky thing. But I've managed to fit them into this pouch. It's a good pouch. You don't have to use this pouch. There are other MOLLE compatible pouches that are smaller if you need it more compact. But I wanted the most versatility I could for the money. So it's a little bulkier than it would ordinarily be. But it does a good job. And it covers the radio. A lot of them are open top. This covers the radio to give it some semblance of protection from the elements. Something you got to think about sometimes. The other thing you can do, you can also wrap your radio in a Ziploc bag, or there are pouches specifically designed for that, or you can purchase a radio that's definitely designed to be water resistant. So that's a choice right there. The next part is the middle pouch. Now I know you see a lot of this stuff on it. I'll go over what's on the top in a minute. But the stuff on the top could go into the pouch if you bought a bigger pouch, or it could go on other parts of your gear. I highly recommend putting it on your chest rig. It makes it a little easier to get to, and these are all things you're going to want to get into. And if you stick these things inside this pouch, it's going to get pretty tight in there. So let's get started with the utility pouch, which sits in the middle of your chest rig. Okay. The reason you don't put your radio in the middle is because the antenna will go right up here under your chin, and that's not fun. People have done it. Okay, the first thing to know is that most of our job is looking at things. Our mission when we go and deploy for disaster relief is what's called a disaster or damage assessment patrol. And this patrol's only purpose is to assess the ability, the area, and find out what needs there are there, whether there are buildings that are structurally sound versus ones that are unsound, whether there are medical concerns, people who are still in the area that might need medical attention, and of course whether or not there are any security concerns. All of those things are important. But, especially when it comes to those security concerns, you may not want to get too close. Some of those guys that are making the security concerns don't get too happy when they see you looking at them doing whatever it is they're doing that they hadn't ought to be doing. So a nice pair of binoculars is nice. Not to mention, when you're walking through the woods and you want to look and see what's ahead and see what the trail's going to look like, or if you want to identify that deer or other piece of other wild game, and you want to do it from a distance, this is the way to do it. You don't use your rifle scope as binoculars. You use your binoculars as binoculars, because if you're pointing your rifle scope at something, you're pointing your rifle at something. So, get a little nice set of binoculars. A lot of people make them. A lot of companies make them. This is Bushnell. They're not the top quality, but they're a pretty decent set. And they're what's in my pouch right now. Okay, the next thing I have is, this is the Frontier emergency water filter. This is not my primary water filter. I have one in my backpack that's made by K9, and it's a good water filter system. But, in a pinch, this allows me to drink water directly from a source and have it be filtered. And that's important. Hydration is very important. And believe me, Giardia and other things like that are not fun. So, clean water is important. This will allow you to have that clean water. I have a headlamp. These little guys are handy. This one takes takes a small button cell lithium battery, the CR2032 lithium battery. This is made by Cyclops. Very lightweight, but anything like this will do. It's a nice little candling device, and you can attach it to your head, and it'll work. And the lithium ones have the benefit of not having any kind of, they have a long shelf life. They're not going to die on you so quickly. I have in here energy bars. While you're on the march, these things will keep you going until you get to where you can set camp and have something to eat. I have an extra Swiss Army knife. The goal of this pouch, this whole system, is that if I grab this and this alone, I have everything I need to sustain myself for a few hours while I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing. So if I forget my pocket knife, I've got another one in here. It's also handy if somebody else forgets theirs. I have, last but not least in this pouch, I have Sharpening Stone. Alright, that's what this is. It's Sharp. This happens to be one. I just bought it at a Ace Hardware or whatever. But having a way to keep your knives, tools sharp is important. We carry tomahawks, we carry knives, we carry all kinds of things. And all of those things need to stay sharp in order to stay functional and safe. So carry something like that. Alright. Let's go to the top. Top of the pouch is another candling device. This is a Coast flashlight. It's a tactical light. It takes AA batteries. Doesn't take, I guess you could put CR123s in them as well, but this one, it takes AA batteries. Easy to find. That's kind of important. And it's bright and allows me to see where I'm going. I have a compass. It is a navigational device. This one's a lensetic, but any kind of compass will do, as long as it's good quality. Have a compass in your gear. And you can put that on the front, or you can slide it into the pouch. And right here we have a multi-tool. This is a Gerber Multiplier 600. Highly recommend this particular model of Gerber. The pliers deploy nicely. You want the needle nose if you can get them. And all of the tools in it lock. Now let me get the knife out here. All of the tools lock, which means it's a very safe multi-tool. Get one. But any multi-tool will do. Leatherman makes a good one. And finally, on the other end here is the sheath knife. It's required on your gear that you carry to have a good quality fixed blade knife. Fixed blade knife is one of the most important tools you can carry for survival purposes. It doesn't fold up on you, which means it's much safer than a folding pocket knife. And it's easier it has a lot of uses. In fact, it's the most important tool you can carry in a survival situation. This one here is made by Essie. It's the SE4. Essie is a phenomenal brand for an American-made brand knife. Everything's made right here in the United States, and it's got a great warranty. Probably the best in the business. Now, this goes into some stuff you don't necessarily have to have, but I highly recommend. A pair of trauma shears. They're shears. They cut clothing. They cut all kinds of stuff. Carry a set along with your medical care kit too. And in the same thought with medical, we have a cat tourniquet. we again deal with sharp tools and firearms. So, because we have you're dealing with rifle marksmanship, if you are in security on patrol, or if you are walking through the woods with a chainsaw, axes, machetes, they can all ruin your day. And if you happen to open up an artery, this thing will stop that artery from flowing. It'll stop blood flow. It'll keep you alive, or it'll keep a friend alive. We have a whistle. Any whistle will do. Fox 40 is a good one. This is a military issue P whistle. It has a little P in it. You can hear that. But any whistle will do as long as it's loud. You're required to have that. It's part of our signaling. We have a whole system for whistles that controls search lines and patrols and all kinds of things. Make sure you have a whistle on there. And last, certainly not least, we have fire making equipment. We have a ferro rod that's attached to this thing. Ferro rods are good. There's usually a lighter in here. I checked it earlier, and apparently it got depressed, and specifically the trigger got depressed on the lighter, and it expended all of its fuel. That's why you check your gear all the time. Do it every week. Check your gear, because you can't depend on it's going to work every time unless you check it and make sure. But a ferro rod is a way to make fire that throws really beautiful sparks. You know, these sparks are very, very hot, and when touched to tinder, will do a good job. It doesn't hurt to throw a little bit of tinder in one of these things either. Tinder quick's good. Vaseline soaked cotton balls, they all work. Long and short of it is this. This gear allows you to, one, have equipment on you when you need it. Allows you to be identified. As you can see, I have my original circle pouch that you get when you first join on my chest rig, so that I'm identified, even if I'm not in uniform. I have all of the gear that I would need for basic stuff. Obviously, adding in a backpack or a patrol pack or or whatever adds more to your equipment. But this is your this is the first line right here. This is the stuff that you're going to carry, or actually it's your second line, but it's the stuff that the basics that you're going to carry when you are in the field. And this system or something like it is required for your use in the U.S. Volunteer Rangers. And all of the tools and equipment in here you will be trained in how to use, and how to use safely. With that, I hope this has been informative to you. It's told you the basics of what you need for your Scout chest rig, and will allow you to move forward in the U.S. Volunteer Rangers and be successful. With that, this is Sean Merritt, National Commander, United States Volunteer Rangers, signing off.